Da, 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 da. Hello, Wizarding World fans, and welcome to my review of the 8th and final movie in the Harry Potter film series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. So, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This was released in 2011, 10 years after the first film, and it was directed by David Yates once again. So, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, wow, it has been a long and interesting journey to get to this point. This is the final Harry Potter film. Of course, the franchise will continue with the prequels in Fantastic Beasts, but as for this sort of current series, this is the end. So yes, the second half of the last book is now adapted into this film, so let's just get on with it. So the plot of The Deathly Hallows Part 2 is as follows. Harry, Ron and Hermione search for Voldemort's remaining Horcruxes in their effort to destroy the Dark Lord as the final battle rages at Hogwarts. The Deathly Hallows Part 2, wow, absolutely phenomenal conclusion. This film is magnificent. I adore this film. This is definitely one of my favourites in the overall franchise. I don't know if it's my absolute favourite, but it is very high up there on my list. Struck me watching this today how I failed to remember how emotional this movie was. This movie is very deep and sentimental. It's bound to get your tears going at some point. Yeah, there are a few moments where I almost shed some tears, I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's the fact that I've been watching the films from the beginning up to now, or maybe it's because I care about the world so much and care about the characters like most people do. Whatever the case, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, much like Part 1, it has this really kind of bleak, emotional, dark tone, but this time we get to the final battle. And my goodness me, is this movie epic. The Battle of Hogwarts is just, wow, it is amazing. Although the film does focus primarily on Harry, Ron and Hermione and their quest to destroy the Horcruxes, that is the main narrative thread of this film. However, the battle is a centerpiece of the film, and it is there in the background. It is the main setting of this film, and I have to admit, it's pretty epic. Yeah, the action may not be as forefront as you think, but the action is definitely there and it serves the story very well. And I have to admit, it's quite emotional to see Hogwarts get blown up. Yeah, the trio head back to Hogwarts, and it's not the same Hogwarts they once knew. The school is being run by Snape. He is now in charge, and these Death Eaters called the Carrows are also coming in, teaching like dark magic to the kids. And all of the students that Harry, Ron, Hermione knew from their previous years, they're all being forced to do things against their will, and they're all being tortured. So Hogwarts is not safe anymore. So this really is the time for Harry and co to step up and fight back. And I love this film, the way that the pace of this film, it goes. This is the shortest film in the Harry Potter series. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes, but it flies by. You know, it doesn't feel long at all, but it feels long enough to be a satisfying conclusion. As well as the action, there's some great character moments, great sentimental moments, especially when Harry discovers the truth about himself and how, well, spoiler alert, how he's a Horcrux. Some really emotional flashbacks with Harry's parents and Snape, and like everything is wrapped up very beautifully. Loads of characters have different revelations. Best performances are of Alan Rickman by far as Snape, and his final scene is very, very sad. I must admit, it's quite brutal the way he goes out, but also very, very sad. The way that Harry prepares to sacrifice himself to face Voldemort is also very sad. And also other characters that we know, like Lupin, Tonks, and Fred, all of those background characters who have been there supporting this story, some of them are dead in this one. Some of them die. It's really tragic to see some of these people go out. But as well as it being kind of dark and emotional, the tide does turn eventually. And of course, those final moments where Harry does come back and finally fights Voldemort for good, that is epic. Harry and Voldemort's final battle, I know it's a little different to how it is in the book, but at the same time, I'm very happy with the way that they did it. I think that it needed to be epic. This is a film, after all. People are going to watch this. People are kind of going to want more than them to just standing in the Great Hall and firing spells and then speaking to each other. That's fine in a book, but I think in a film you need to sensationalize it a bit more, and I think that's what they did, and they did it very well. As well as the Battle of Hogwarts, we have the opening section of the film where we're at Shell Cottage mourning Dobby. Obviously, Dobby has just died at the end of part 1, and they see Ollivander, who instructs them about the Deathly Hallows. and they get some information in regards to that, and then obviously they talk to Griphook, who leads them into Gringotts to find one of the Horcruxes, which is the Cup of Hufflepuff. And from then on, the film is an absolute race, too, from beginning to end. It just moves at such a great pace. It's so well directed. David Yates on top form here with his direction, and every character definitely has his or her moment in the story. Ralph Fiennes deserves a shout out as well. His best performance as Voldemort, I think. He has taken this character to such a great place, and to see Voldemort kind of have all this power and then to finally lose some of that is interesting. This movie is all about the payoffs. There's certainly other things that get paid off, like Ron and Hermione's relationship finally comes together. They finally fall in love and finally kiss each other in the Chamber of Secrets, which we've been building up to for the whole series. So thank God, thank God that we finally got that. It's nice to see other characters do more, like Luna and Cho and all the students that we didn't really see in part one. They get to do a lot more this time as well. Molly fighting Bellatrix Lestrange is also funny. Not my daughter, you bitch. I think that's a absolutely incredible line. I think that's one of the best lines in the entire series. The other action sequence to talk about is the Room of Requirement. I really like that sequence, and it's nice to see Harry, Ron, and Hermione actually saving Draco and Blaise. Obviously, Goyle dies in the Inferno that he created. In the book, it's supposed to be Crabbe, but because of the movie, the actor that plays Crabbe was fired for reasons which I won't go into. But that's a really cool sequence, and to see them destroy the diadem like that was pretty epic, and I did like that. And I again, this movie is an action thrill ride from beginning to end. That's what it is. We've had the build up in part one. Now's the time to go all guns blazing, go all out to be epic, and they do that. I also like the scenes with Aberforth Dumbledore. I think Ciaran Hinds is pretty good in his one scene as Aberforth Dumbledore. We will see Aberforth a bit more in The Secrets of Dumbledore, not with Ciaran Hinds, or potentially not. But it's nice to see a bit more insight into the fact that he didn't really have a good relationship with his brother, and again, we'll go more into that with the new film. As well, we have Kelly MacDonald, I believe, as the Grey Lady. She plays Helena Ravenclaw, which is interesting, and I like her scene with Harry, where he finds information out about the diadem. The music score by Alexander Desplat is also very good. It definitely complements the film's more sort of sad, bleak, emotional tone, but there's also some happiness. Certainly the film ends on a very happy note, which is good, like when the three of them are standing by the bridge, Harry snaps the wand, and I know some people have a problem with that, but I don't mind it too much, because at least that way nobody can get the wand, and there's never going to be any sort of anyone who will get the wand. I mean, I don't mind the fact that Harry dumps the wand and he snaps it and he dumps it in the river. At the end of the day, no one can get the wand in, because in the book I think he just leaves it in the office, but I think it kind of works better in some ways to have him just break it, so then like I said, no one can actually get it afterwards. And seeing the three of them standing on the bridge is a very nice way to end, and obviously all of the students and teachers and who else we've seen over the years in the castle all happy. They're all happy, and they're it's great that the battle's over, and the ones that have survived. Some really lovely tender moments right there. Contrast to the other scene earlier where we see a lot of characters dead. So it's a nice sort of contrast to that, I think. One of my favourite scenes in this film is also when the statues come down. I think the statues are amazing when they start defending the school, and all of the students and teachers create the massive shield around the school to protect them, and so many fantastic moments like blowing the bridge up. McGonagall fights Snape, that's really awesome as well. And again, what's great about this is that the stakes are so high. You feel for every character, you want everybody to make it out alive, but that's not going to be the case. And certain characters like Neville, Neville is amazing in this film. He gets such a great payoff, certainly when he kills the snake, and when he gives that amazing speech about Harry and how Harry didn't die in vain, and they all stood to fight and everything. That was brilliant. So many emotional, amazing moments here. And I think once again, Yates is on top form with his direction for this film. And it's also nice to see Hermione destroy Horcrux as well. Like, Hermione gets to destroy the cup in the Chamber of Secrets, which is nice. It's nice to go back to the Chamber of Secrets as well. It's nice to see that after all this time. And of course, Ron destroys the diadem. So it's good to see that other people get to get involved in destroying the Horcruxes as well. That's nice. And the film does have a little bit of comedy. It does have some comedy sort of in the first half of the film. There's a few laughs. It's not much, but it's just a little bit here and there, just to, again, like part one, not to make it too depressing and too, heavy. You know, it's just nice to have a little bit of light relief, you know, because we're back with these characters that we know and love, so why not? And I think the production design is also amazing, and again, seeing Hogwarts all destroyed is sad, but it's nice to be back in Hogwarts after all this time. But also nice to be back in Gringotts, and the dragon as well. I forgot to mention the dragon is awesome. When they escape on the dragon, that is a fantastic action sequence. And it really has been a genuinely lovely treat to see these children grow up on screen right before our eyes. And if anything, that's what makes the whole story so emotional, is that so much of the Harry Potter series is the theme about love and friendship and loyalty, and seeing these kids grow up and become the young men and women that they have, that has been the greatest joy of this 10-year experience of filmmaking. I'm sure they feel the same about making the films, but us as viewers, seeing it happen before our eyes, that's been genuinely magical, no pun intended. And of course, the epilogue is lovely when we see 19 years later, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are older, they have their children now, and obviously Ginny as well, and we're back to where we started. Platform 9 3/4, and then they're off to Hogwarts. So it's it's a lovely way to kind of bookend the series as well. Oh, one last thing, I did like seeing Michael Gambon back as Dumbledore. It's nice to see him in those memories and those flashbacks, and as well as his last scene with Harry in, I suppose, that state of purgatory, that sort of place of purgatory anyway. And he gives him the choice. He says, "Well, you can go back, or you can die. It's, you know, it's up to you. You can sort of rest knowing that Voldemort's weaker, or you can go back and do what you want. It's your choice." So yeah, I like that last scene with Harry and Dumbledore. I think it's a nice way for those characters to kind of bookend their relationship. What can I say? The Deathly Hallows Part 2, all the acting is fantastic as well. You know, Rupert Grint and Emma Watson gets so many more emotional scenes. You know, everybody's giving it their all in this final installment. I could go over every single character, but it would take me ages, so I'll just say that all the actors are fabulous in this film. And it's also nice to see Robbie Coltrane doing some emotional stuff as well. Like, he's bringing Harry out of the world that he brought him into, which I think is very poetic. So there's a lot of poetic things going on in this film. And the fact that they did it in 2 hours, 10 minutes is quite amazing. So there's that. So anyway, that is my review of The Deathly Hallows Part 2. I'm obviously going to rate this movie a 10 out of 10. Yeah, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal ending to this series. It's been an absolute blast watching these films again. I forgot how much I love them. I really do. But that is it for now, folks. So next time, I am going to delve into the Fantastic Beasts movies with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the prequel movie, which was released in 2016, so 5 years after this. And then, of course, I'll talk about The Crimes of Grindelwald and then The Secrets of Dumbledore. And then we are pretty much up to date. So anyway, thank you very much all for watching. What do you think of this film? Please comment down below. Let me know. Please hit the like and subscribe button for more future content. And stay tuned next time when I review Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So, until next time, I'm Mr. Thewlis. Thank you very much for watching. Mischief managed.